Hey, hi, and hello, everyone. Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. I hope you are doing well. Want to jump in here and give my 2 cents on a clip that made the rounds on the internet and was the subject of a lot of discussion over this past week and weekend. It was in an interview with the one and only Rick Rubin, the legendary record producer, and of course, that was conducted by Anderson Cooper. And in this discussion, there were a lot of revelations, the most stunning of which was Rick openly admitting that he doesn't really know much about music. He doesn't know much about the technicals of producing music in terms of running a board, playing instruments, so on and so forth. And this left Anderson stunned. He was like, well, what's going on here? Why are you this super successful, famous producer that people are so interested in working with? If we can roll the clip will roll now. If we can't, and it's a bad idea because of monetization and this video getting claimed and stuff, maybe we'll just show a picture of it. Well, I don't really play much instruments. Wow, that's kind of crazy. They basically both have the same voice, but in a slightly different register in my mind. I don't know why. But either way, long story short, yes, Rick Rubin, who has worked with the greatest of the greats of the greats and made some of my favorite records of all time, be they with Slayer, be they with some very early classic hip-hop acts, be they with freaking System of a Down, be they with Johnny Cash. Yes, Rick has had his fingerprints all over some really amazing and legendary records over the years, and seemingly he does not have the chops or know-how to assemble or compose music, to play instruments, or run a board, so he says. Now, let's presume Rick is on the level. He's not some kind of a guitar virtuoso in secret, or some board master or something like that. He's being honest and accurate in his assessment of his abilities in the studio when he works with artists, which maybe some people are not surprised by, given that, there is some criticism out there of some of his, production choices around things like compression and mixing and stuff like that. Still, though, he does seemingly put out a lot of good work on a consistent basis, and a lot of interesting work as well. Okay, with all that prefacing out of the way, is what Rick Rubin told us in this interview, is this a bad thing? Is it a shocker? Should it be a shocker? In a way, I don't think so, because rarely is anyone at Rick Rubin's level of success, or even Pharrell's level of success, working entirely by themselves. It's not as if they don't have people working under them or working with them to create the music that they make. After all, a studio and a production suite, depending on how involved it is and how big it is a pretty big ship to run all by yourself. Not really shocked someone like Rick Rubin might have other people doing this stuff for him and might not have all the technical chops that a sound engineer who's been professionally doing that and singularly that for years and years and years might have over him. Ultimately, the point that I'm getting at here is that this doesn't really matter, because what is the most significant thing to Rick Rubin's process, whatever that process is, because it's not like he's going to just give out the secret sauce for nothing. As long as Rick has an idea, with his success, with his connections, with his resources, he could call on literally anybody to come in and implement it. As long as he has the idea, clear idea of what he wants to achieve in his mind, he can literally get a hold of anybody to do it and make it happen. This essentially makes Rick Rubin like the Bizarro DJ Khaled. I know a lot of people look at DJ Khaled's music and say, wow, that music sucks and is trash because DJ Khaled's not talented. He doesn't write, he doesn't sing, he doesn't produce, he doesn't do anything. That is correct. That is true. And, given Rick Rubin's comments about himself, let's assume, musically speaking, that he and DJ Khaled are about on the same level of musicality. Probably not true, but, let's presume that if you also gave Rick Rubin a Bob Marley acoustic guitar, that he as well would go, whatever the hell that was. Let's presume they're at that same level and that they have to call on other people to come in and make certain things happen, be they beats or arrangements, whatever. If that is the case, what makes DJ Khaled's music suck and the music that Rick Rubin is involved with not suck is that DJ Khaled's ideas are piss and bad. There's an entire sea of musicians out there who are very technically proficient and super talented. You could put them on whatever their axe of choice is, and they can just like rip and riff like it's nobody's business, and they sound amazing. Maybe they even have a very deep understanding of music theory. But if their ideas for songs and their ideas for melodies are boring, fall flat, if their ideas for arrangements aren't good, then, I mean, I'm sorry, all the technical ability in the world doesn't matter. Like, obviously studying music is a good thing, and I'm not advocating for ignorance here, but at the end of the day, if all of that ability and all that know-how amounts to music that sounds like a fucking chemistry set, you've wasted your time. I would rather listen to somebody who, maybe on a technical level, has no fucking idea of what they're doing, but they have an idea up here, and they're going to put their heart and soul into it as fully and as passionately as they possibly can. I would much rather listen to that. I would much rather have that experience. In fact, like, if punk as an art movement has taught us or revolutionized anything, it should be that. The idea that technical ability is trumped by a great idea, by passion, a concept. And certainly there's many crossroads in which technical ability and ideas and passion and so on and so forth intersect. They're not at odds with each other, and in most cases with popular music, I would say they complement each other. But like, let's be real here. There is an order of operations to these things. And ultimately, when it comes to good music that has staying power, I think ideas come first. Technicals come second. And if you need technicals, you can practice, you can study, or if you're a guy who is in the position that Rick Rubin is, you go out with your ideas and with your experience and with your brain and reach out to people. You find people who you can bring in and do those things that you want to be done. Some people who are cynical may say, well, is that artistry? Is that creating? Is that this? Is that that? I don't know. Is directing an art? Of course it is. How is being a producer that much different than being a director in like a cinematic sense? Just like a director, the producer has instruments, they have musicians, they have somebody who's hopefully written something to record in the studio. You have equipment, you have effects, you have various applications, VSTs, so on and so forth. And as the producer, be it through your own technical ability or somebody else who you are directing, it is your job to make it all come together and visualize it in such a way where it is harmonious, it is holistic, it communicates something, it's cohesive as well, if that's your preference. And then you do your damnedest to take that vision and you make it manifest in real life. You translate it to whatever medium you're working in this case, music. So no, I'm not entirely shocked that Rick Rubin came out and said something like this. Rick Rubin, I think, has proven himself to have very good ideas over the years, and the fact that he lacks the technical chops to make them all happen by himself, to me, is even more impressive. The fact that theory-wise, he's going into many of these recordings just absolutely blind, and yet they come out fantastic anyway. But there you go. Those are my thoughts on that. Let me know yours down in the comments. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Rick Rubin, music forever.